Hey guys, it is Saturday, September 21st. Bitcoin's at 63,200, and I want to focus this episode on IBIT options. So I posted about this on Twitter, and I'm not going to say anything new. I just want to sort of cover it on YouTube for my YouTube followers. And so a lot of people are talking about these IBIT options, a lot of confusion, a lot of speculation. Let me add my 10 cents here. So first of all, what are these IBIT options, and what are they likely to do? Well, number one, they're going to be very popular. Why do I think that? The reason I think that is, if you look at the last 4 to 5 years, these perpetual futures that were introduced by Arthur Hayes at BitMex have proved extremely popular. And they were popular at BitMex. What are these things? These are sort of a future without an expiration date, right? So instead of futures happening quarterly with quarterly expirations, or monthly, depending on the future. These things are just vehicles for allowing you to get leverage without a specific expiration date, right? And they don't have any kind of delivery process. There's no mark-to-market process. There's sort of a continuous mark-to-market. And if you're at a threshold, you just get liquidated. And that's sort of the invention of Perps, as they're called. And so they were very popular under BitMex. They were shut down by the SEC. They migrated to FTX, and in fact, they pretty much are the engine that grew FTX. And then Binance basically copied and pasted, and then they became enormous on Binance, adding even more growth to Binance. So this is a very, very popular format now. There are also options on Bitcoin that are out there on Deribit, on LedgerX, which was owned by FTX. It was bought by FTX late in its existence. But these are more regulated, and in general, U.S. citizens can't take advantage of them, so they're a little less popular. But these options that are coming out right now offer many of the same features as Perps, except they offer it in a much better format, and they offer it to U.S. citizens. So it's just going to be massively popular. Okay. The second thing is, let's just focus on the call option side. So IBIT call options will allow people to capture the upside of Bitcoin without limited downside. Now, a lot of people would like to add some Bitcoin to their portfolio without necessarily, putting 10% of their portfolio into Bitcoin or more, right? So how do you do this? How do you get this kind of outsized Bitcoin exposure without actually buying a very large amount of Bitcoin? You do that by adding calls. So I think there's going to be a lot of people, a lot of hedge funds, a lot of other players that basically buy longer dated calls. And if you look at kind of the power law, right, this is exactly what the power law says you can do. It says these things, even if volatility is very high, these things are going to it's going to be a winning strategy, right? So, I think we're going to have a lot of players who want to do this, want to buy those calls. And I also think there's going to be a lot of selling of these calls, and that's really the third part. And why is that? Well, if you own Bitcoin, this is a way for you to generate quote-unquote yield off your Bitcoin. So, in Spaces, we've talked about sort of selling the at-the-money call option on Bitcoin, and you can sell something that's 20% out of the money, not at the money, 20% out of the money for a 1 month option. You can earn, several percentage points per month by doing that. So If you just want to sit there and hold the Bitcoin, but they're sort of sell off your upside, it's a great strategy, and you can harvest the premium. And if Bitcoin does nothing, you're going to make 20% a year, and a lot of people love that. So I think there's both buyers for the call options, and there's a lot of sellers of covered call options. So, and there's a different cross option strategies that can be put in play, but I just think this is going to be massive, right? The call option marketplace is going to be massive. And finally, put option buying. I think as we kind of get to new crazy heights, a lot of people are going to buy put options to hedge their risk in the case of a either temporary downturn, maybe a 1 year downturn, but maybe it's people just feel nervous about the market. I think there's going to be a lot of put buying. So I think, generally speaking, we're looking at a huge amount of interest in this. I think this is good for Bitcoin price because I think there's going to be a lot of talk about this Bitcoin thing. There's going to be a lot of activity in Bitcoin options. There's going to be, it's going to create a lot of new strategies around holding Bitcoin. And I think it's just going to be fantastic for Bitcoin. When's it going to start? Well, the SEC has approved it. So now we're waiting on the Chicago Board of Exchange, CBOE. And I think there might be a few more approvals, but it could happen pretty quick, is my understanding. But it's been approved, so I think we're going to look forward to eventually a pretty significant rise in Bitcoin and an amazing trading opportunity. So that's my video. If you like my videos, please hit the subscribe button on YouTube. I really appreciate the fact that 18,400 of you have subscribed. And while I don't do as much videos on YouTube as I do posts on Twitter on the .Krueger handle, I really appreciate your subscriptions. And also want you to thank you for those who have bought beef on my sponsor, Shirttail Creek Farms. They have great beef. I'm going to do a video of me barbecuing some beef on Shirttail Farm beef, and I'll put the link in the description of the video. So thank you very much, and I'll talk to you guys soon.